How would you like to triple your income? Well, I'm going to show you how an advisor I worked with did just that. He tripled his income in a year. He actually doubled it in the first 6 months, so he was well on his way to tripling it in the first 6 months. He started to use this marketing technique that I'm going to show you. And here's the great thing. It's a marketing technique that costs you nothing. It's not sending out lead generation cards by the thousands. It's not spending thousands of dollars on a seminar. It's not moving your FMO contract. It's not doing any of those things. It costs you nothing to do this. What is that thing? Well, it's coming up with a great elevator speech. Something that when you share it with people, it gets them to say, how do you do that? But more importantly, something when you arm your clients with that elevator speech, when they try to refer their clients to you, that when they talk to their clients and they give them this elevator speech, it will get their friends, neighbors, relatives to say, how does he do that? Give me his name. That's what we want to do. So let me show you how it worked for this gentleman. He'd been in the industry for 15 years, and it was worked in a target market that we'll talk about here in a second, but it works for any target market. And he'd been making about $125,000 a year for the last 5 years, which isn't bad. But the thing is, he'd plateaued. He's wondering, how can I get break through this glass ceiling? And he tried all the marketing out there, all the seminars, postcards, whatever. He tried everything out there, radio. He tried everything, and none of it worked. So he's wondering, how can I do this? And I said, well, guess what? Your ticket is probably going to be a marketing that's actually free. And he's like, what do you mean by that? I said, well, we're going to just change one little thing about your practice, and that is we're going to come up with an effective elevator speech. And here's what happened. Like I said, he more than doubled his income and tripled it. More than doubled his income in 6 months and tripled it over the year, and again did it with no marketing costs. He did it from getting 34 referrals. Now don't get me wrong, this guy was getting referrals for his whole 15 years in business. But here's how the referrals were working. His clients loved him. They loved to try to help him. But they would go to their friends or their colleagues and say, hey, you should work with my guy. He's a great retirement specialist. And guess what their friends and their colleagues would say? Well, I got a great retirement specialist too. Maybe you should talk to him. And think about this. We hate rejection, but it's our living. Our clients, it's not their living, so how do you think they feel about rejection? The first time they try to refer a client to you and they get, well, my guy does that too. Guess when the next time they're going to try to refer to you is? Never. They don't want to be embarrassed like that. They don't want to deal with the rejection, so even though they like to help you, they don't like you enough to be rejected. But see, by arming them with a great elevator speech that actually empowers them. And what do I mean by that? Do people like to be smart? Yes. Do people like to have something that their friends or neighbors want but they don't have? Yes. That's human nature. Do people like to be viewed as an expert or a resource? Yes. And see, when you give your clients a great elevator speech to use, it empowers them, because then the people they share that with say, how does he do that? Can I meet him? It makes then your clients feel great, and it makes them want to refer again and again. And more importantly, it gets the people that they refer to you to call you. So what is this great elevator speech that we came up with? Well, let's take a close look at it. This gentleman happened to work in the teacher's market. And the elevator speech we came up with for him was, I increase a teacher's retirement pension income by an average of $430 a month by utilizing the new changes in the Minnesota Teachers Statute 256B-057. So when his clients would say, hey, you should talk to my guy, he helps teachers use their retirement pension and increase their monthly income by $430 a month by utilizing the new Minnesota Teachers Statute 256B. How many of their colleagues said, really? How does he do that? Can I talk to him? Well, you know what? He had 34 people say that, and with big TSA rollovers, 403B rollovers. So by having an elevator speech, all of a sudden his clients weren't getting rejected. His clients were looked at as heroes, and hey, you've got a resource I want, and hey, aren't you smart to have this guy, and can you give me his name? And it made his clients feel good, and it made them refer more and more and more. So you want something, an elevator speech, that when your client uses it, it gets the people they use it with to say, how does he do that? Or it gets them to say, really, how does that work? Or more importantly, you want them to say, well, can I talk to him? See, if it says any of those three things, you now have an elevator speech that will get duplicated over and over and over again, because your clients are getting rewarded by the attitude of the people you're referring it to. They're not getting rejected. They're actually looked at as great resources and smart. And it gets those people to call you. So now I hear a lot of you saying, well, Mike, that's not going to work for me. I'm not in Minnesota and I don't work with teachers. Well, that's the great thing about having an elevator speech. You don't need to be, you don't have to use and can't use everybody else's. You have to come up with your own. And I've got guys that have used this same formula I'm about to show you for elevator speeches in all over the country, first of all, in all sorts of different target markets, and it has worked just as effectively for them. So what is this formula? It's the 5Q elevator USP formula. And it entails 4 different steps and then a check test. So what are the 4 steps? Well, you want to come up with something that only you can claim. So you can't say I'm an IRA expert. You can't say I'm a retirement expert. You can't say I'm a teacher's retirement expert. There's too many people saying that. It has to be something that only you can claim. The second thing is it has to be something that addresses either greed, fear, or frustration with your target marketplace. Better yet, if it addresses all 3 of those. The next thing is it has to be extremely specific. And you see I bolded extremely because the more specific you make it, the more effective it's going to be. And I'll share that with you here in a second. And then the last thing, it has to be 1 sentence long because it has to be something that your client is comfortable remembering and repeating to their friends and colleagues. Now when you do those 4 things, then you want to test that 5Q elevator statement, and you have to ask, does it pass the test? And how do you know if it passes the test? It's a very simple test. If the people that they share that with say, how does he do that? How does it work? Can I talk to him? Or if you use it with people and they say, how do you do that? How does it work? Can I talk to you? Then you know it passes the test. It means that you've come across or developed an elevator statement that's going to make you a ton of money, and best yet, at no cost to you. Does that make sense? So does the increase teachers' retirement pension income by an average of $430 a month by utilizing the new changes in the Minnesota Teachers Statute 256B.057? Does it do all 4 of those things? Well, number 1, is it something that anybody else is claiming except the gentleman we created this for? No, he was the only one claiming this. Number 2, did it address greed, fear, and frustration? Yes, greed is obvious, right? An extra $430 a month. Frustration, yes, because the teachers didn't understand the new changes to the Minnesota Teachers Pension Plan. And did it address fear? Yes, their fear of not having enough money when they retired. All 3 it addressed. How about specificity? Look at all the specificity I have in this one sentence. Teachers, that's specific. Pension, retirement pension, that's specific. $430, that's specific. A month, that's specific. New changes, that's specific. Minnesota Teachers Statute 256B.057, that's about as specific as you can get. And is it 1 sentence? Yes. And a sentence that people can remember? Absolutely. And most importantly, did it pass the test? Well, the proof is in the pudding. 34 referrals made him $275,000 just in the first 6 months. And again, he went on later that year to triple his income from the previous year. So obviously it works. So, the key to marketing is this. Knowledge empowers you. Don't believe all the promises that everybody's making you about marketing, especially if they're asking you to pay thousands of dollars or jump through hoops like moving your contracts just to get that knowledge, or get that marketing. Make sure the marketing makes sense to you. Use your noggin. Does it pass the common sense test? Because when you do that and you use your brain instead of just believing and hoping that things work, it's going to empower you and you're going to see your income go up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that it was helpful, and I wish you great luck in all your future endeavors.